So when we multiplied them together, adding and multiplying with exponents were like partners, right? They were related to each other. So if we multiplied, we added the exponents. And when we divided, we did little baby subtraction, because with exponents, divide and subtract were partners. Well, here's what's important today is we are learning the properties of logs. And logs and exponents are related to each other, right? They're kind of like cousins or brothers and sisters, right? So we're going to learn the same properties that Mrs. Weir taught you about exponents, but today we're going to learn them about our friend Mrs. Log, right? We're going to learn her properties. They're pretty easy, and once you get the hang of it, they're good. So this is going to be notes on the back, but the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about the word expand and condense, and you don't have to write this down. Sometimes we do things in math, and we don't realize that we're doing it because they use all sorts of weird words. And it's like, oh, simplify, condense, add, put together, total. And sometimes it's like, yeah, those all mean the same thing. So we're going to be using this word here today, expanding, and we're going to be using the word tomorrow, condensing. And people are like, what the hell does that even mean? And let me tell you what that means. Imagine there are 8 friends of yours, and you are deciding to go into the city. You guys have thought, we're going to go into the city. We need 8 people all together, but no one has a big van, right? You don't have a big van. So you have to decide how you want to split that up about drivers. Maybe you're going to put 4 people in one car and 4 people on another. Maybe you're going to put 2 people in one car and 6 people in another. Or maybe you're going to have 3 drivers. You're going to put 2 people in one car, 3 people in another car, and 3 people in another car. When we stretch stuff out in math, that's called expanding it. This is expanded. When we squish things together, that's called condensing it. We do that all the time. You guys took the expanded thing and you condensed it. That's what you did, right? You just didn't even realize that you were doing it. So if I use the word simplify, but if I had said condense this, it's the same thing. So what I don't want you to do is freak out tonight when you're going to say, we're going to expand these logs, and be like, what the holy hell does that mean? We're just going to take logs that are like compacted, and we're going to stretch them out. And the reason we do that is because sometimes we can take hard problems, stretch them out to little baby easy ones. And that's our goal, right? That's our goal. Eventually be like, oh, that's super easy because I stretched it out. Is everybody cool? So Cole's putting his phone away for me. Thank you so much. So here we go. We're going to start with our first one. The first property is called the product property of logarithms. And here's what I want you to know. Multiply and add are partners. Partners. Just like in exponents, we would say when we multiplied 2 things together, we added their exponents. And with logs, we do the same thing because they're related. If it's multiplied in the guts, we're going to spread it out by adding it. And you're like, what does that even mean? And I'm going to show you. So here's what it's going to look like, and you can write this one down. Log 5 of x times y. This is one problem squished together. It's got one log, and it's got some things in its guts that are squished together. Our job today is to spread it out. And the way that we spread it out is if they're multiplied in the guts, we can spread it out with adding, and this is what it's going to look like. It equals log 5, sorry about that weird dot right there, log 5 of x plus log 5 of y. Does that make sense? This is, and it's weird, and you're like, what does that even mean? Eventually, this will make a little baby problem that we can do, and another little baby problem that we can do, and it becomes super, super easy. Okay? So I want you to try one, and if you're like, is that really kind of all it is? Yeah, it is. But if you don't know these properties, the whole rest of this chapter, you're like, what is she doing? Why can she do that? And it's like, because it's a property. So I would like you to try this one with your neighbors. Log 7 of 5x. I'd like you to write that out in expanded form. This is condensed. It's got one log. We're going to expand it, and it's going to have lots of little logs, or in this case, 2 little logs. Anyone brave enough to tell me what they got? It really is that easy. Tim, what'd you get?
Log 7, 5
Of
plus
5.
log 7x.
Awesome. Awesome. That's all there is to it. That really is all there is to it. How about something that looks like this? Let's get a little bit weirder here if you guys are brave enough. How about log 3 of 5xy. Here's a hint. You're going to get 3 little logs on this one, and that's okay. That's okay. And if you got, hey, log 3, 5 plus log 3x plus log 3y, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. Little thing off to the side that I want to tell you, sometimes you get to make choices. What if I wanted to do the log 3 of 12 and I wanted to split 12 up, right? There are lots of ways to split 12 up. I'd like you to try this to split it up how you want to split up 12. There are multiple choices to split up the number 12, but be careful. It's not 10 plus 2, right? It's making 12 into 2 numbers that are multiplied and then rewriting it. That's where it gets a little weird. I know a lot of kids want to go, ooh, log 10 plus log 2. No, what we want to do is write this as 2 numbers timesing to each other and then expand it. Anyone have an option for me that they like? What 2 numbers did you use, Kirsten? What did you split it up into? 6 and 2, awesome. So Kristen split it up in 6 and 2, so she went log 3 of 6 plus log 3 of 2. That is awesome. If you had picked 4 and 3, here's what's crazy. When we learn how to put these in our calculator, it would give you the exact same answer as adding 6 and 2 or 3 and 4. It works the same way. Everybody okay with that? So the next thing I want to talk about is, let's go to the next one, the quotient property, right? Well, if adding and multiplying went together, what goes with dividing? Subtracting does, yeah? So dividing and subtracting are partners, right? Just like up here, we subtracted them, right? So here's what it's going to look like. It's going to say log 3 of x over y. And there's only one thing that you need to know. When you subtract, the bottom, guys, is always after the minus sign. The bottom guy is always after the minus sign. So it's going to look like this. Log 3 of x minus log 3 of y. Does that make sense? Nice and easy? Yeah? That's pretty nice and easy. How about one for you to try? Let's get a little tricky. I think we can do this. I think you guys are brave enough. La la la. Ooh, I am going to get tricky. This is going to be a 3-parter. Let's see if you guys are brave enough to try this one. Log 3 of 5x over w. You'll have 3 in a row, right? Be careful. You've got 2 guys up here. 1, 2, 3 things happening. So you're going to have 3 little logs in a row, right? 1, 2, and 3. When you have an answer you like, could you do me a favor? Could you share it with your neighbor? Can you see if your neighbor has the same thing that you have? Yeah? Look at their paper. Make fun of them if they get it wrong. Hug them if they get it right. I don't know. Something like that. See the guys in the back hug each other. Come on, Ava. Give them a hug. You got this. I said hug them if they got it right.
Oh,
Okay, you don't have to.
oh yeah.
You know, just making you uncomfortable. So did you get this? Log 3 of 5 plus log 3 of x minus log 3 of w. Someone in my other class said, can you put them in different order? Can you move them around? And you can, as long as the w is negative, right? He's the minus one, because he's the guy on the denominator. He's going to tell us what the denominator is. So far, so good? We all feeling like we're getting this? Then, oh, who's the winner today? Hold on. This person might not be here. Oh, not here. Our friend Mosen. Okay, because we knew that, right? We knew that. Okay, so let me, look, I actually wrote out your lesson today because I want to make sure I got everything. Oh yeah, and now we're on to my favorite property, my very, very favorite property. The power property. That is if you have something to a power like this, right? If you have something to a power. So here's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like this. Log 4 of x to the third. And this is my favorite one. If you have an exponent in your log, it can drop to the front. This turns out in the next 2 weeks to be the most important property because it's going to allow us to take exponents that are variables and drop them in the front. So I want you to put your pencils down for a minute, and I want you to watch something. You don't need to ever actually know this, but I'm going to show you how this bad boy works. So if we have log 4 to the x to the third, that's the same as saying log 4 times x plus x plus x. Everyone's pretty okay with that. And we can say that that's log 4 of x plus log 4 of x plus log 4 of x. And you can write it that way. That's perfectly fine. But the shortcut way is to say this. 1, 2, 3 of them, 3 log 4 of x. So what I want you to know is the property says this. If you have a guy in the front, an exponent, you're allowed to just pop him right into the front. Right into the front. It's so easy. It will become your favorite one. So if we have log 3 to the y to the 7th, all I have to do is say, wait a second, that dude gets to come right in the front. 7 log 3y. Does that make sense? That's the power property. So often I'm going to come to you and be like, oh, don't forget to drop that guy in the front. And he's going to become very valuable to us. What? Oh, thank you, Annette. Okay, so those are the basics. Now we're going to have a little fun. I'm going to have a little fun. You're not. It's math. We're going to mix them all together. So are you guys ready? Here we go. You got this. So the first thing I want to tell you is before we do this, there was something I forgot to tell you the other day. Do you remember how we have the square root of 5 and we don't really have the little number right there? What is that little magical number that's supposed to be there? It's supposed to be a 2, right? But we use it so often that we told ourselves you could just leave that 2 off. That happens with logs as well. You will start to see a log with no base, just log of x. And the base is there. It's there. It's just used so often. I'm going to make it black right there. It's used so often that we're allowed to leave it off. But here's what. It's not the number 1, and it's not the number 2. Does anyone have a guess at what that number that we leave off because we use it so often? I'm going to give you a hint. It's not because of math. It's because it's science. In science, they use a thing called scientific notation all the time. And scientific notation has a base of what? What is the base of scientific? It's base 10. So this guy right here, if you see nothing, it's supposed to be a 10. Do you have to put the 10? No. You can leave it off. So here's what happens. I get lazy and I make up examples and I don't feel like writing a base. And you're like, Miss T, you left the base off. And I'm going to be like, yeah, it's a 10, right? So you can do that as well. So if I start doing examples with no base, that's because I'm going to say it's 10 and I'm just leaving it off. So that's just for you to know. So here we go. Here comes our first one that we're going to try all together. We're going to say log. Oh, look, I'm leaving it off because I'm not lazy. X squared over y to the third. Ooh, ah. So we're going to do this one together. Then I'm going to give you one to try. So we got a lot of things happening here. We've got some exponents. We've got some divide. So here's what I do. I start with the multiplying and dividing. So I'm going to first rewrite this as log x squared plus log y to the third. Have I lost anyone on that? Oh, I did it wrong. What should I have up there? A minus. What the hell was I thinking? Thank you for catching me on that. That should be a minus. That should be a minus. Now, do that first. Then I look and think, are there any exponents that are not supposed to be there? And I do. I have that little 2. He's not supposed to be there. So I say little 2, come down in front. And that little 3, he's not supposed to be there. And I say little 3, come down in front. And that is expanding logs. It's weird, and if you weren't here today and you try to learn this on your own and read it in a book, it makes no sense. But for you guys, you're going to be like, you're going to go through the homework and be like, that's it? And be like, that's it. And tomorrow what we do is we go backwards. We take these crazy ones and we make them little tiny ones. Does that make sense? So here we go. You guys ready to try one? You guys got this. I know you do. Let me pick a better pen color. Here we go. Log 5 x to the third y to the fifth over w to the 7th. I love that problem. It's beautiful. Would you have it expanded? Can you look at your neighbor like always? And again, it's always fun to make fun of someone. I like doing it. Even if they're smart, I like making fun of. I just, make fun of what they're wearing. Make fun of their haircut. I don't know. Knock yourself out. Oh my God, I just taped that. I'm kidding, parents at home. Don't make fun of other people. Oh my goodness. How'd you do? Did you do this? So here's what I'm going to have. I'm going to say log 5. I'm going to start with x to the third. I'm going to put him there. And then I'm going to go log 5. And then I'm going to go y. Ooh, let's see if this will work. That'd be so nice if I could move that. And then I'm going to go minus log 5 w. Wait a second. To the 7. And here's what we're going to do. Oh, wouldn't this be amazing if this actually works? Oh my God. My life is so good. Look what look, I just moved that little 5 there. Did you see that? Yes. Shut up. I don't have a very exciting life. Oh, it didn't work. I was ahead for a minute there. So the 7 goes here, and I don't think I'm going to be able to move that 3. The 3 goes there. How'd you do? Did you get 3 log 5x plus 5 log 5y minus 7 log 5w? Yeah? That's crazy. If you look at that, it's like, wow, that kind of looks like just magical stuff, right? So here's the good news. I'm not going to give you I'm going to give you enough to practice on these, but the practice goes really fast, right? Because there's not a lot of math to it. I love math. That doesn't have a lot of math. So I've got your homework at 16 problems, but I do need you to get good at it, right? And I would say that number 13 is a little tricky. So give 13 a try. Maybe what you want to do on 13 is distribute the 6. That's my piece of advice for you on 13 for those of you.